What is a job? When done right, no one notices. But the moment it's done wrong, all eyes are on you. Part 1. Water waste operator. The only time most of the public even thinks about where their dump goes when they flush it is if it has to be bypassed to the river or backs up into houses. I just moved to an area with septic. Man, I miss my magic poop portal. The people who do their very best in setting up before a concert, all those lights, decorations, etc. Hardly anyone noticed their impeccable good work, but they will be recognized when the lights suddenly go out. I was a lighting guy for a while. Honestly, one of the funniest jobs ever. Second to lumberjack. Until you mess up the color scheme at a wedding, then there is hell to pay. Air traffic controller. One of my favorite documentaries talks about how the air traffic controllers got all the planes out of NA, US and Canadian airspaces on 9/11. Just absolutely unbelievable how quickly they responded and that all the planes landed safely. Sound tech. Completely ignored until the screech comes. So true. It's everyone's last thought when doing any kind of show or performance. If it's good, no one knows. If it's bad, you ruin the show. Nuclear power plant safety inspector, water quality inspector, waste management, any job that monitors the quality of infrastructure. I saw a documentary on a nuclear safety inspector. This guy was overweight and boorish, unbelievably lazy, especially on the job. He would take naps while monitoring his plant. And a total pig too. He would gobble up all the donuts and even shorted out his workstation by spilling fondue on it. I also got the impression that he wasn't that smart either. Literally a spy. Hi, military intelligence person here. You have no idea. When something as small as a 3-day weather forecast can disrupt missions like you wouldn't believe, knowledge truly is power. Line cook. Nobody says good job about the other 300 dishes that went out perfect, but one steak comes back a little overdone and you are the focus. I don't miss that feeling. I got compliments to the chef all the time working at a bad Italian restaurant. Maybe your servers just don't actually pass it on to you. I saw a great YouTube video explaining why we think CGI today sucks. Essentially because it's so good we never noticed it until it became a crutch. That is why I love Mad Max, because people are always praising it for its lack of CGI when it's filled with it. I work in blood processing. When I do my job right, hospitals have clean tested safe blood plasma, platelets and granulocytes to transfuse into patients. And no one bears any mind as to what happens in between donor and patient. When I mess up, patients die. Sad story coming. When I was 11, I fractured my spine. The doctors had the option of putting me through surgery or putting me in this full torso cast. They opted for the cast. I shared a room with a 5-year-old. She needed some hip surgery done. No cast option for that. Fast forward a few months and we saw the little girl's mom on the news. She had been infected with HIV from the blood used during surgery. This was 18 years ago, so I'm sure standards are much, much better today. But man, bass player. Nobody notices him until he stops playing. The first rule of drumming is that if you make a mistake, turn and look angrily at the bass player. Nick Mason, drummer for Pink Floyd. When the church organist plays Here Comes the Bride by mistake as they bring the coffin in for a funeral on a busy weekend with multiple weddings and funeral services scheduled in the church, everyone stops, looks at the organist, including the pastor, followed by deadly silence. I would probably turn my head and look for the bride. Washing dishes. Ever been in a kitchen on a day when the dishy calls in sick? Pure and absolute panic. That stuff doesn't put itself back on the shelves. The trash doesn't take itself out. The compost doesn't magically make it to the bin. That's all me. Worked in a dish pit in the most popular restaurant in my town. I know all too well your pain. The part that sucks the most is that people in the kitchen always yelling for more dishes and they don't care how far back you are or the fact the machine can only clean so fast. Airline baggage resolution. You have no idea we even exist. No idea what your bag actually goes through from check-in to pick-up, When I tell people I'm a tracer, they always look puzzled. I usually say, don't feel bad, no one even knows we exist. Payroll. People get paid fine. No one spares a thought for those who made that happen. Any slight change in what they were expecting? What have you done with my money? You need to fix this now, blah, blah, blah. When most of the time, it's something completely out of our control. To be fair, almost everyone is relying on that money to come in at a specific time. Lots of monthly payments have late fees. My rent goes up by £6 per day if it's late. So someone else's screws up giving you money you earned can cost you. Still, should obviously not just scream at people, but getting paid late is incredibly stressful. Housework. Clean every day and no one realizes or appreciates it. Stop doing it for a week and the house falls to pieces. It takes a week? I cannot do something for a day and I get screamed at about it in the evening. It happened today. For once, I decided I wouldn't tidy up the dining room and kitchen because no one else in the house was bothering. And I was the one to cop the abuse despite the fact that I'd been doing other stuff all morning when someone else just slept the morning away, as the usual do. The guy who gives everyone internet. Hi, I'm from under the hood of the internet. Guess how many Christmas holidays we aren't getting? As working in a NOC, specifically on DWDM systems and DCS equipment, I know the answer is anyone having internet service on Christmas? Everybody. I'll be here in the cave. Movie and TV sound design. Can you guys turn the dialogue up and the music down? Every single show. Computers. 100k hour in lost revenue if things are down. You don't look busy. What do you do? Well, when I don't look busy, that's a good thing. That means everything is operating as designed. Also, when you tell me 100k per hour and show me proof, then bulk because of a 50k piece of hardware, I will remind you that if it prevents 30 minutes of downtime, then you have made a wise investment. Software QA. When we do our jobs right, upper management wonders why they pay us. When we do our jobs right and delay the release, upper management wonders why we hate progress. And when we do our job wrong, upper management wonders what we were doing, probably trying to get as much coverage as possible because their release date was set in stone and we only got a dev complete build a week prior. Yep, no matter what we do, we are always hated. No defects equals you are useless. Defects equals why would you do this to us? We are perfect, you must be wrong. Mistake equals the triggers to the apocalypse. Offensive lineman in American football. Stop the guy in the front of you 29 times, but the 30th time he sacks your quarterback, now you're a goat. As long snapper, the guy who snaps the ball on punts and field goals, the Bears had the same long snapper for well over a decade, and our kicker, Robbie Gould, was on the cusp of being the most accurate kicker of all time. Then Pat Manley retired, and the last 2 years Gould had been pretty bad. The timing on the snap is everything. The Super Bowl electrician. Any aspect of live production really. Same goes for the San Antonio Spurs air conditioning maintenance team. Being a healer on a multiple player video game. Healed a player in a D&D game. Paladin kills Orc, King everyone praises him. I heal the party plus boost their stats, it's expected. I haven't screwed up personally, but there's always someone that does something you hear about from other plants, like employees losing appendages, etc. The nuclear field is very safely orientated, so anytime there's some kind of incident, even competing companies will share that information in order to prevent similar situations from happening at their plants. The people keeping up Reddit service. Never forget Reddit down 2015. If only DJ Khaled had given the okay to add more servers, we wouldn't have had any of those problems. Aircraft maintenance. Related, be someone who keeps track of a shop's tools. Now, misplace any of them? Child protection social workers. They save thousands upon thousands of kids every year from hideous situations and possibly death, and they get paid a disgustingly low salary. The workload is abhorrent. Working with highly abusive and idiotic people to help them parent is a thankless and heartbreaking job. Then, as soon as one child slips through the net, normally because of the aforementioned horrendous caseload, or because nobody reported the issue, or the school didn't flag concerns with them, they get blamed for not intervening and plastered all over the news for being terrible people who are terrible at their jobs. One of my friends worked for CPS, for a while, and she was told over and over that she was destroying families. When I came up to her and asked if it was true that she worked there, she flinched because she was expecting me to tell her off. I actually wanted to let her know I appreciate the tough work she did. My brother is adopted and was pulled from a bad situation due to CPS. User interfaces. I work in brokerage, and we still use those green and black screens from the 80s to analyze clients' accounts. Directional drilling. Since you're drilling in the ground, nobody can see your work or how well you kept it level or how much planning it takes to follow a bend and to do it consistently. So many people have lost their jobs because of one mistake. Almost all IT. What do you mean we need new equipment? Those computers are barely 15 years old.